Marley was dead to begin with. Welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. This is Chris. This is the book. Book is The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Classic. While discussing The Christmas Carol, I have some mulled wine. So The Christmas Carol. There is a short list of books that I read, and I read over and over and over again. One of them is The Hobbit. The Hobbit is a great book. It's a really quick read. I've read it twice in a day. I've read it in a day on 2 separate occasions. I've read it more times than that. There's Death of a Salesman, the play by Arthur Miller, which might be my favorite piece of fiction out there. It is a play, so I don't know, it doesn't really count as a book, really, but I have multiple copies of it. I love it that much. And the third one, I think there's more than this, but these are the 3 that came to mind, is The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Christmas Carol, originally published in 1843, first included in the Everyman's Library in 1907, first included in the Everyman's Library Children's Classic in 1994. I guess this is the 1994 version. Charles Dickens is not someone who I am the biggest fan of. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A lot of books just are too slow and go on and on and on and on. And Charles Dickens was paid by the word, so he wrote a lot. And he'd make his things go on and on. And this is the only book of his that I have read all the way through. I've tried Tale of Two Cities, and I believe Great Expectations, and I believe Oliver Twist. I believe I've tried all of those, and I haven't gotten through them. They just felt like they just went on and on and on. And I might now be at the point in my life, I've read a couple of books in the past year that were slow, that I enjoyed. But generally I don't like them. But you could tell, while reading The Christmas Carol, what a brilliant author Charles Dickens is, what a way with words he has. The opening it's got to be up there as some of the best writing, some of the best openings in literature. Marley was dead to begin with. There's no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I might have been inclined myself to regard a coffin nail as the deadest piece of ironmongery in the trade. But the wisdom of our ancestors is in the simile, and my unhallowed hand shall not disturb it, or the country's done for. You will, therefore, permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was dead as a doornail. I don't know. I really enjoy that imagery of... There's lots of other examples in this too. For those of you who don't know about The Christmas Carol, Scrooge is visited by Marley, his old business partner who died, and is now a ghost and is visiting him, saying, "Change your ways or else you end up like me." And so he's going and he's having an interview, a discussion with this here ghost of his partner Marley. "You don't believe in me," observed the ghost. "I don't," said Scrooge. "What evidence would you have of my reality beyond that of your own senses?" "I don't know," said Scrooge. "Why do you doubt your senses?" "Because," said Scrooge, "a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheat. It might be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than a brave about you, whatever you are." There he is. I totally forgot about that section, and when I got to it and I started reading it, I did literally laugh out loud because it's such a beautiful bit of writing. I don't know. I don't have great words to describe words. It's good. Anyway, Christmas Carol. Why should you read it? More importantly, why should you, as someone who watches my channel and might be interested in vintage science fiction or the like, I read a lot of science fiction. Not everything is science fiction that I discuss. But why would you like it? And I think you like it and read it. One, because it's a brilliant piece of literature. Apparently, it created For a lot of people, the idea of what Christmas Day should look like, a lot of people look to this book and say this is what Christmas should be, which is fair enough. It's got brilliant writing, and it's Charles Dickens, beautiful words in a way you can read it, but also because it has a lot of things it's similar to science fiction. There is the aspects of the ghosts coming from the past and the present and the future, and they show them a future yet to be. Show them, and say, if you don't change your ways, this is what's going to happen. Which is, they show them a future that's yet to be. Which is interesting. The time travel is not really a thing. This is before the time machine. Frankenstein, which a lot of people call the father, or the Mary Shelley, the mother. The book Frankenstein being the progenitor of modern science fiction. This is written a few years afterwards, but not a whole lot else that's science fiction could be considered science fiction has been written by this point. I believe Frankenstein was like 20 years earlier than this. You should read it because it's a good book, because it's got stuff that's got to do with science fiction, blah, 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 blah. It feels like it could be or should be a science fiction. A lot of people consider it a ghost story, and I mean, it is a ghost story, there are ghosts, but a Christmas ghost story is a little weird. It feels like fantasy, but fantasy the way we know it, modern fantasy, is not really a thing yet either. It's a beautiful morality tale about what should matter in life that a lot of science fiction, good science fiction, does. This is not the real world, probably. It's a world that we can almost recognize, that things are strange, unexplained things happen. There is a question I have that I don't have an answer for. And that's how one, especially a Christian like me, should be reading this book. So during Sunday school this week, we are reading, for this year, we're going through the parables. And I happened to pick up this book, and I started it, and I brought it to church with me the week that we're going through the parable of the rich fool. The parable of the rich fool is a rich man that has a field. It makes a lot of wheat grows. He's like, my current barns don't have enough space for it. I'm going to tear down my barns and build bigger barns in order to store all of my wheat. And he says he speaks to his soul and he says, hey, so we are all set. We have enough to last us. Now we can eat and drink and be merry. At which point the Lord says to him, hey, you went and you worked for all of this. And yet right now your life is needed from you. Therefore, now who's going to enjoy all this hard work? All this stuff that you saved up. And so it's very similar story to the Christmas Carol. And first, I was saying, the Christmas Carol is a lot like this parable, but the issue with the Christmas Carol is the Christmas Carol doesn't have Christ in it. And I think without a Christ figure, it's sort of empty, hollow, saying, just do the right thing and you'll have a good life. I know some people disagree with that, and those people generally aren't Christians, but what it means to be a Christian is to say, hey, Christ is important, and there's no Christ in this book. There are allusions around it, but nothing really there. My next thought was, if this is based off the parable of the rich fool, the parable of the rich fool, as told by Jesus, does not have Jesus in it. He's not in that parable. The Lord is saying, hey, your life is needed from you. And in the Christmas Carol, it comes right before he's to die, and they say, hey, you might want to change how you're acting in order to in order to not have your life end in a way that you do not want it to happen. So I think we should really be reading this as a parable, a continuation of the rich fool. We're not all given second chances in visitations by ghosts to say, hey, remember what Christmas was like when you were a child? Remember the joy you had? You see all these people around you living now, feeling sad about you, and the two people that you rejected most are the two people standing up for you, Bob Cratchit and your nephew. Here they are. They want good things for you, and yet you're just pushing them away. And this is going to end up with you in the grave. And no one's going to be upset if your property gets looted, because there's no one there to be upset, no one there to guard, no one there to mourn. So Gary, I disagree with what I said, that there was an issue that Christ isn't in. I think it might be perfect. Literature is hard, guys, but I think as you read more and then you think about it, you learn more, and things happen in your head, and hopefully makes you think better, and if you think better, you live better. I guess that's the idea of it. Thanks for watching.